sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so welcome back for another deep dive. And today we are going to be looking at something that seemed like, kind of a small little thing that happened at the Grammys. But wow, did it blow up online? We're talking about respect, celebrity, and how the media is kind of operating these days. We've got this article here from People magazine that really breaks it all down.
Yeah, what's interesting about this to me is that this whole thing seemed like such a minor incident that happened on the red carpet, but it really snowballed into this bigger debate about some pretty major cultural trends,
Yeah, exactly. It really makes you think, right? Like, just imagine being on the red carpet. You're Babyface. You're a legend, 13 Grammys. You've produced and written for, everyone.
Yeah, a true icon. And at 65, he's seen the music industry change over decades.
Oh, absolutely. So you're being interviewed by the Associated Press and everything's going fine. And then all of a sudden, bam, they just interrupt you.
Oh, it just makes you cringe. They spot Chappell Roan, who's up for Best New Artist, and they basically just cut him off and start talking over him, calling out to her,
Yeah. I don't even know how I would react in that situation, honestly. But Babyface, he handles it with such class. He just tells them, go do that. And he just steps aside.
Right. But it almost makes it worse, doesn't it? Because he's so gracious about it.
Yeah.
It just shines an even harsher light on how disrespectful the whole thing was. And the internet, of course, went crazy.
Oh, yeah, totally. Khloe Kardashian even called it out on X, She's like, it's maddening to see a legend be treated like that. Yeah. She gives him props for being so cool about it, but she also, makes the point that it's just wrong.
And then Dionne Warwick chimes in, another legend. She actually posts the dictionary definition of decorum and tags the Associated Press, a little etiquette lesson.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to get on her bad side. So, to their credit, the Associated Press did apologize, both, online and on camera.
Yeah, the reporter, Krista Faria, she said that it was just, the red carpet. It was just so crazy and hectic, and that she's actually a big fan of Babyface.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt like too little too late, The damage was already done.
Yeah, I get that red carpets are, crazy. But come on, you can't just interrupt a legend like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it just makes you wonder, is this like a one-off blunder?
Yeah.
Or does it say something more? Is it a sign of something bigger?
That's what I'm curious about. You mentioned before that this whole thing kind of taps into some larger cultural trends. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it this way. Babyface, he kind of represents this older guard.
Yeah.
The establishment. Decades of work, tons of influence. And then you have Chappell Roan, just starting out. The new face, the potential next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you're saying it's like Babyface represents this older guard and Chappell Roan is like the up-and-comer.
Yeah, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
It's not really about those specific artists themselves, but it's more about the dynamics they represent. The media is always looking for what's new, what's fresh, what's going to get the most attention. And when they're so focused on that, sometimes the legends, the pioneers, the people who paved the way, they kind of get, left behind.
Yeah, it's almost ironic, right? Without those pioneers, those legends, you wouldn't even have the new artists to chase after.
Exactly. And that's where this whole respect thing comes in, right? It's not just about age or how long you've been in the industry. It's about acknowledging, the impact that these artists have had, the contributions they've made, the music we listen to. Like Babyface, he shaped the sound of R&B, influenced so many artists, 13 Grammys. That deserves recognition. It doesn't matter who's trending online at the moment.
Right. But do you think this is a symptom of a larger trend? I feel like everything is so fast-paced these days. Everyone's attention span is so short. Have we just become a society that's obsessed with what's new?
That's an interesting point. Things have definitely changed. The media landscape is just completely different. Now it's all about going viral, getting those clicks, grabbing attention. And sometimes, I think respect and nuance get lost in all of that.
So how do we balance that? How do we keep things exciting, keep finding that fresh content, but also make sure we're honoring, the people who have been there, the people with experience?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if there's an easy answer, but I think it takes a conscious effort from everyone, the media, the artists themselves, even us, the people listening. You got to be more mindful of who we're elevating, whose voices are being heard, and how we're treating the people who, paved the way.
It also makes me think about like the power dynamics at play. You've got these established artists, these rising stars, and then the media is right there in the middle trying to capture it all. It's kind of, it's a recipe for these awkward moments.
Totally. And those power dynamics can be super complicated. In this case, you have Babyface. Even though he's a legend, he's still kind of subject to the decisions of the reporters and the media outlets they work for.
So even someone with his level of success, he's still relying on the media to like give him a platform. And when they decide to move on, even for a second, it sends a message.
Exactly. And that message can be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Lack of respect, prioritizing the new over the established, even like a reflection of how our values are changing.
So what does this all mean for us? I mean, the people watching, the people listening, what are we supposed to take away from this whole Babyface thing?
I think it's a reminder for all of us to be like more critical. When we're consuming media, who are they choosing to focus on? Whose stories are they telling? And how are they treating people who might not fit the current trends, but who have made, these really important contributions? Are we just accepting whatever the media is giving us? Or are we actually thinking about it and asking these questions?
So we need to be aware of like who's benefiting from the spotlight and who might be getting lost in the shuffle.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, if we're more conscious of all of this, if we're asking these tougher questions, we can create a media landscape that values both, the new and the legendary, the stuff that's trending and the stuff that's timeless.
This whole conversation has really got me thinking about how I like consume media, whose voices I'm listening to, and how I can be more aware of the people who might be getting overlooked.
And that's the power of these moments. They make us think, they make us question things, they make us see different perspectives.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've covered a lot here. We started with this, seemingly small thing that happened at the Grammys. And we've kind of discovered that it's really like a microcosm of what's happening in the media and society as a whole.
It's a reminder that this constant need for what's new, this constant battle for our attention, it can sometimes make us forget to respect and acknowledge the people who came before us, the people who made everything we enjoy today possible,
It's like that saying, we stand on the shoulders of giants. We can't forget the people who built the foundation. It's like we're just constantly bombarded with like new information, new trends, new artists all the time. It's easy to kind of like get caught up in all the hype and forget about, the people who came before.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's especially important, I think, in music. I mean, music thrives on innovation, on evolution, right? So it's about finding that balance, like celebrating these new talents, but also still, honoring the artists who paved the way. I mean, think about it. The legends inspired the newcomers, and then the newcomers pushed the boundaries even further. It's like this like amazing cycle of creativity.
Yeah.
Keeps the music alive,
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the media's role in all of this before. Like, do you think there's anything they could be doing differently to like foster a more balanced and respectful environment?
That's a really good question. I don't think it's about, ignoring what's new and trendy. I mean, that's part of what makes music so exciting. But maybe it's about shifting the focus a little. Instead of just always chasing, the next viral thing, what if they highlighted like the lineage, the connections between generations of artists,
Right.
Imagine if like, alongside a new single release, there was also this feature on the artist who inspired that sound, the pioneers who like laid the groundwork. I think that could be so powerful. Educate the audience, engage them, but also, show respect.
Yeah, like weaving a richer tapestry, showing how it all connects, And thinking back to the Babyface incident, it wasn't just the media, right? Like there were tons of fans online who, jumped on that whole disrespect bandwagon.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in that outrage cycle, especially on social media. But what if instead of just like piling on, we use these moments to actually have like a real discussion?
Yeah.
What can we learn from this?
Yeah.
How can we be more mindful of the artists we support, the values we're promoting?
So instead of just reacting, we take a step back and think like, what's this really about? What message am I sending?
Exactly.
It's about being more conscious, not just of the media, but of like the whole culture.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where the real power is, in our awareness, in our choices. If we demand better, if we lift up the people who deserve recognition, if we celebrate the whole history of music, all the different parts of it, maybe we can create a culture that values both, the stuff that's groundbreaking and the stuff that lasts, the new and the timeless.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for you all to think about. In this world where we're constantly getting hit with new information, where everyone's fighting for our attention, how do we make sure that respect and recognition are given where they're deserved? How do we make sure that the voices that need to be heard are heard, regardless of, their age, their status, how popular they are at the moment? How can we make sure that we're not just chasing what's shiny and new, but also appreciating the foundation, the people who made it all possible?
It's a challenge for sure, but it's a challenge worth facing. It's a conversation worth having, because at the end of the day, it's about building a better culture. A culture where everyone feels seen, valued, and respected for the contributions they've made to the music we all love.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all